So I'm in the mood for some TBC content, and Mincy has made a very good video on TBC recently that is called WoW TBC Classic Prepatch, Essential Changes in Consumables, PvP System, and Riding, and more you can't miss. This one has banged, by the way, 23,000 views in 3 days. Let's take a look at it together. I also have gotten the volume extension app, by the way, so I should be able to like boost the volume up slightly more, which I believe I have to do for this one. I've watched like the first minute of the
Hey
video.
everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know
I might even have
heading
to boost it
into
up more.
TBC
Let me know.
and the TBC pre-patch coming up shortly. Today we're going to be covering how rating changes in
Also,
pre-patch, the new
he's in the bottom
consumable
left.
rules, the PvP prep and the honor farming, trade skills like Jewelcrafting, and a bunch of hidden mechanical changes including weapon skill, enchants, and even how some classic items proc differently at level 70 but are still potent. This one took a ton of research, so if it helps you out, don't forget to drop a like, share it with your guild, and subscribe for more TBC content. So first off, let's start with raiding in the pre-patch. Because yes, you can still raid during the pre-patch, but the mindset's a little bit different this time. Pre-patch raiding isn't about sweating over parses or min-maxing, it's about getting used to your new abilities and talents. And if we only have a limited time of 2 weeks, we'll all be leveling to 70 and all our rotations mostly change anyways. If you're doing 5 to 10% DPS or healing less in Naxxramas, no one cares. This is the time to experiment and not stress. One of the best expansions is coming. The biggest change you'll notice right away is consumables. For pre-patch, you could stack 1 consumable per stat. Strength, stamina, attack power, you name it. That's gone now. Instead, everything falls into these new categories. A battle elixir, which is a offensive stat, a guardian elixir, which is the defensive stat, a food buff, and optional buffs like scrolls, scroll of strength 4 and scroll of agility 4. And we also still have our Valentine's Day chocolates. But flasks in this iteration are different. They count as both battle and guardian. So if you use a flask, that's your full elixir slot. You can't double dip anymore. Scrolls are their own category and still stack with everything, but they're rare open world drops. The min-maxers and people that have made smart investments will understand that even the stat scroll 4s are 3 stat difference from the stat scroll 5s. They will have been grabbing the strength and agility scroll 4s from basically the beginning of phase 3 onwards throughout Classic WoW. I know a lot of my...
It is for this exact thing right here that I should just be in the top right, but I haven't set up a scene for that right now, so I'm in the top left. He's using like top left in many of the parts of the video as well, like sometimes right, sometimes left. Probably not the best reaction video, but hey, it is what it is, and it is what it is.
Friends that already have 400 to 500 each of each scroll, because guess what? 3 main stat difference, and the fact that they were 80 silver is going to make their money go so much further than when we get into TBC and these strength scroll 4s are 15 gold, and potentially the strength scroll 5s, when we get our hands on them, are going to be ungodly into the 20 plus gold, becoming the new mongoose, if you will, for everyone. But
yeah,
don't expect everyone to use them regularly. Now, something that happens with your Valentine's Day and your chocolate buffs, they do stack with everything, but they'll start expiring the moment pre-patch hits. Even if you're logged out.
Dude.
That's right. That means they are gone.
Right now, if you have these chocolates, they only count when you're online. So what people are doing right now is they're stacking up chocolates and they're logging off and never logging on until they basically sell them, right? Now they will start expiring in real time days, not just time/played, but real time. So if you have any chocolates left over, then now's the time to use them or sell them.
On in real time. No longer can you just put them on a bank alt and just log off, and that holds them permanently.
I think that is such a stupid mechanic, by the way, but I mean, it's classic. It's always been that way. And it makes sense that it's still that way, I guess, but it's so dumb.
At their duration time. You can delay their expiration, by opening the gift box.
I tried to make some videos on this as well for anniversary to tell people about this, because like if you're struggling to make gold in anniversary, during that event you could make between 50 and 100 gold per hour, basically no matter the level you were. You did need to be like, I don't know, level 5 plus, maybe not even that. Like, it was so easy to make gold. You just had to do some stuff. Actually, I know, you had to play the game, it's crazy. But you had to play the game, do a little bit of things, and get some boxes. And then just log off and hold on the boxes. And you would print money later.
Boxes just before they expire. And this is how kind of the math is going to work out. So the Gift of Adoration has about 7 days. Then there is 10 days for the actual box of chocolates, and then 10 more for something like a buff of like the Dark Desire, the hit food buff. So it's roughly going to be anywhere, if you're smart, if you're lucky, you time it roughly around 27 days. And depending on how long our pre-patch is going to be, this may be gone by the first week to the second week of TBC. But
if they're going with the usual length that we had back in Classic the first time, we had 2 weeks, right? Which I'm just gonna say I don't think was long enough, because they said they would give us enough time to level up like Blood Elves and Draenei, and then they gave us 2 weeks, which for me was okay, because I can play the game all day. But for people that can play the game for 2 hours per day, there is no way you are getting to level 60 in 2 weeks. In order to get to level 60 in 2 weeks, even in the TBC pre-patch, you probably have to play the game for about 100 hours on average. Actually, might even be more on average, because the average leveler is kind of slow, but let's just say 100 hours to have some easy math, right? Over 14 days, that would be like, what, 8 hours played per day? A little bit less, like 7.5. 7.5 hours per day, / played, by the way, while leveling. So yeah, 7.5 hours on a daily basis for the average person in a pre-patch, where you probably wait and schedule your paid time off for the actual launch itself. It's not long enough. I really hope that this time they do make some changes there and give us a longer pre-patch.
Valentine's Day should be right around the corner. But again, these will be in real time come then. So those food buffs won't be out as long like they were in Classic the whole time. Now let's talk about some utility potions. Some of these got hit with nerfs. So for example, the limited vulnerability potion no longer makes you immune. They just reduce incoming physical damage by 120. Greater protection potions now only last 2 minutes instead of lasting an hour and having a 2-minute cooldown. And Juju Chill is now a Guardian Elixir, so it won't stack with things like Zanza buffs anymore. So for your raiding setup, it's super simple now. Pick one battle elixir, one Guardian Elixir, and your preferred food. So for example, as a Warlock, you would pick something like Flask of Supreme Power and like a Nightfin Soup. As a Rogue, I'd probably still use Elixir.
There are a lot of people, by the way, who are absolutely coping right now, thinking that, yo, raiding in TBC is gonna be so cheap compared to Classic WoW. Or like, Classic Anniversary right now, or Vanilla. Raiding in TBC is quite expensive, dude, I'm not gonna lie. It depends a little bit on if we get any quality of life changes that affect materials in TBC, and also it depends on what Blizzard does with some consumes as well, but like Terracones is gonna be a massive wall, and could be a massive supply versus demand problem. And they ended up being quite expensive in TBC Classic the first time.
Of Mongoose, and same thing with a Warrior.
Dude, I'm babysitting my cat right now because he's about to do some dumb shit. Can you go away? Don't do it. Not today, man.
I'd probably still use Elixir of Mongoose. Scrolls and Valentine's buffs, those are both bonuses. If you have them, though. But I would probably save them for actual TBC when they matter a little bit more. Now that you have your consumables, let's talk about talents. Prepatch brings in the TBC talent trees. So this is your time to experiment. There is a ton of viable builds, and honestly, since everything changes at 70, you don't need to chase the perfect builds or the perfect spec. I know a lot of rogues that are actually going to be going Mutilate, even though it's not the top DPS, and it actually performs 5, anywhere up to 15% less. Myself, if I get my hands on the Black Book just before TBC pre-patch, I myself will be playing the Demonology build with the Felguard, just because it's a lot more fun and it's literally only 2 buttons. You basically only spam, or 3 buttons technically.
Did he just say Demonology? So he's gonna play Demonology? I mean, here's the thing though, that's not really a bad choice. It's because you would then end up buffing other warlocks in your party, right? So it's not a bad choice, and it's not even suboptimal either. But you won't see a lot of warlocks doing this, by the way. If you have, let's just throw a random number out there, 7 warlocks in a raid, you're probably gonna have one of them be Demonology. Maybe 2, but probably just 1. That is popping, like playing Demonology. And then the other ones are playing, well, any of the other 2 viable specs. When I say viable specs, it's just like small differences in how you play Destro, I guess.
Put your curse up, you would spam Immolate on your targets and then just spam Shadow Bolt. It's fun because the pet does a crazy amount of damage. Now, if pre-patch only lasts roughly 2 weeks like it did last time, there's a few things that you want to focus on. One is to farm, honor, and...
I really hope we get a 1-month pre-patch, by the way. I'm sorry to pause so much, but I really hope we get a 1-month pre-patch. If TBC is coming out in January, give us a pre-patch in December. And I will also say, by the way, I think pre-patch is dropping at some point in December, so we'll see if I am correct or not. I just don't think they want a classic WoW December where there's no updates. We haven't had any updates for a while. We haven't even had communication in a long time. Depending on when this reaction goes up, that could have changed, but it's been a wild half year.
Marks for gear. And 2 is getting your trade skills ready, especially Jewelcrafting. Knocking out Jewelcrafting now before when it's too late in the middle of the expansion and everything's jacked up because we're not in the old world is going to be essential. So for PvP, for example, if you're like me and you've just finished a character and you're thinking, oh, I'll get it to rank 14, there's no point. Just stop now. It takes weeks and hours upon hours of time. I recently have been talking to one of my friends who's only doing 9k honor per hour. You know how much honor it takes to actually hit rank 14 before pre-patch? An ungodly amount. If you only have 1 to 2 weeks left, sure, go for that title. But honestly, it's not worth it. You can spend your time literally doing anything else and it's more worth your value. Hell, you could even not even play the game for a couple weeks and get a break and touch some grass. That might be a little bit more...
Oh, you can't say that to WoW players, dude. You just said that to me. And number 1, I don't understand what you mean. But number 2, no thank you.
More valuable mentally. Battlegrounds will be your best friend in pre-patch. You can farm honor and marks to buy the rank 14 gear, which is perfect for filling missing raid slots or just gearing your alts. And if I remember correctly, in the beginning, the honor was busted. People were able to get 75,000 honor like that right away, basically. But someone on the forums decided to, actually, and then it got fixed. So if you were out, if you missed out on the first 2 days or the first day of honor, they ended up fixing that. And there was also people that were trying to cheese the battleground marks and basically preloading them into their mailbox so that way that they could have them. How it works.
What do you mean they tried to? They did it.
Works out is technically right now we're allowed to have 20 of each mark, but in pre-patch we go to having a honor cap of 75,000 and 100 marks per battleground. And that means we would be able to stack 100 AB marks, 100 AV marks, 100 Warsong Gulch marks, because those are the 3 that we have available for us. Now, if you're wondering how much, Mincy, is it going to be for me to get a full set of High Warlord gear on one of my brand new alts? Well, it's really not that bad. A full set in weapons is going to cost you roughly around 103,000 honor total. For to get the one-handed weapons, it would be 19,120.
Okay, so that is a good number, but I have no idea, because I haven't PvP'd in Classic in a long time, and especially not in the pre-patch when the honor values change. How much honor per hour can I realistically aim to get in the pre-patch? Because that is a lot of honor, but like, just the armor set alone will cost you 65,000, which that number is a high number. Let's just say you're getting 100 honor per hour, that is 650 hours of farming. But if you're getting 30,000 honor per hour, now it's only 2 hours of farming, so the actual values you're getting on an hourly basis kind of matters quite a lot here. I mean, maybe the marks gives you kind of an idea of how much you need to farm, like assuming that you get the honor points you need by the time you get those marks, you will get 3 marks from winning, unless they're changing something. So that is what? 23 Arathi Basin wins, 17 Alterac Valley wins, and 10 Warzone Gulch wins to get the marks. So assuming you get the honor by default when you farm those marks, that is like 50 battlegrounds in total.
5 honor plus 20
that you have to win, by the way.
AB marks for each weapon. If you were to get a two-handed weapon, it would be 38,250 honor and 40 AV marks. The chest is 13,770 honor with 30 AB marks. The legs are looking at 13,000 honor and 30 Warsong Gulch marks. The helmet is about 13,000 honor and 30 AB marks. The shoulders are 8,415 honor and 20 AB marks. The hands are 8,415 and 20 AV marks. And the boots are 8,415 honor and 20 AB.
That is so many marks, by the way. Now, thankfully, you can preload like 20 marks at least by default, and possibly more in the mail, but at least 20, so you can preload a bit.
Marks. Just the armor alone will cost you 65,025 honor points, 70 AB marks, 50 AV marks, and 30 Warsong Gulch marks, and another 38,250, as well as 40 AB or AV marks if you want the weapons as well, totaling up to the original 103,000 total honor. So if you're planning to PvP at 70, you can stockpile that honor now. So for example, let's say you don't need to do any of this specifically for level 70 because you've already been playing your character. You got a high warlord already. Some of the cost going into TBC is the PvP trinket costs 8,000 honor. The Talisman of the Horde costs 22,950 honor and 10 Eye of the Storm marks, which is a battleground that comes in TBC, so you can grind those marks out when we're actually in the Burning Crusade. The back costs 11,794 honor as well as 20 AB marks. The PvP rings cost 15,300 honor and 10 AV marks. PvP necks cost 15,300 honor and 10 Eye of the Storm marks. And the PvP gems cost anywhere from 6,885 to 8,500 honor. Now, some of the honor pieces are on screen as well. The bracers, belt, boots, gloves, shoulders, legs, helmet, and chest are all available for you in the first phase. Okay. Weapons, however, if I remember correctly, weren't available in the very first phase of actual TBC. If someone could correct me on that, it would be much appreciated. But I remember basically right away going for the 1815 Gladiator stuff as far as weapons. But on alts later on, and I don't know again which phase it was, but later on I was able to pick up like one-handed and two-handed weapons as well as ranged weapons and shields. You can't stack all of your honor for every single piece, but you can stack 100 of each mark and 75,000 honor. As well as you can buy the rank 11 mounts. Instead of for gold, you can buy them for honor as well.
Right.
Now, if you bought one of the 90 gold mounts, you have 150 riding skill, or you should have 150 riding skill going into TBC pre-patch. So therefore, you should just be able to buy them with marks instead of having to pay any gold. But if you decided on a new character not to grind it out, it is cheaper. The 150 riding skill costs 600 gold, which can be discounted by your faction's reputation at a maximum reputation of Exalted, which reduces its cost down to 480 gold. So its base cost would be 600 gold, and you get a 120 gold reputation discount. So how this works out is basically a slow ground mount. Your first mount can be bought at 30 in the Burning Crusade, and it will cost you 9 gold. The mount is typically called your slow mount because it only adds an extra 60% movement instead of the 100 that the fast ground mount adds. While it's the slow mount, it will still feel amazing when you're no longer walking. The riding skill to use
Yeah, and getting this at level 30, by the way, is such a quality of life change. Nei, Ricky. Oh.
the slow mount will cost 35 gold before any faction discounts and require level 30. The mount itself will cost an additional 9 gold again. Now the fast ground mount can be purchased for 90 gold at level 60 in the Burning Crusade expansion, and this mount will give you the 100% movement speed and is a lot faster, obviously, compared to the 60%. The riding skill to use the fast mount will cost 600 gold before any of the reputation discounts, and the journeyman riding skill will require you to be 60. The bulk of the price will be going into the riding skill, but the mount itself will cost an additional 90 gold. So if you decided to grind out the 30 marks of each, you can then save yourself 90 gold.
Yay!
By purchasing the 150 riding, the journeyman riding, and there is no more racial training for riding. So that means basically you can choose any mount besides a Tauren. I believe a Tauren is the only one that can't like ride specific mounts. Now, if you're wondering how much slow flying costs, expert riding will cost 800 gold. And then you will need to spend an additional 100 gold to buy the bird mount. Sounds like a pricey endeavor for a slow mount, but it's well worth it. The mount will allow you to farm the elemental plateaus, do additional daily quests, and the mount will also help you.
Yeah, like you need to have a flying mount in TBC, by the way. Like it's pretty much mandatory to have a flying mount in TBC. Whether you go for the fast one or the slow one, that is definitely up to you, but depending on what you want to farm, having a fast one as well will be a game changer and will basically double your gold per hour sometimes, maybe sometimes even more as well. That being said, there are many farms that don't require a flying mount, but there are many that really do as well. Even like farming mana thistles are usually locked behind the flying mount. Many of the mana thistles are on a location where you have to fly to get to them. I believe there are a couple that are in regular, or quote-unquote regular locations, but other than that, mana thistles for farming Socratar's Seat, for example, anybody who remembers that farm, is also basically locked behind flying. There's a ridge in Nagrand locked behind flying, the elemental plateau will locked behind flying, and the infamous, famous elite farm is also locked behind flying. So yeah, gold farmers, get flying ASAP. You don't need to have the epic version, but just any form of flying.
Get to places quicker because you can fly over obstacles and go in a straight line. Also, it'll help you get your Kara attunement. You will need this flying mount, at least one of them, before you can even step foot into Kara. And again, we don't know if they're gonna follow suit like they did with Fresh and give us a extension of like 1 to 2 weeks on the actual launch of TBC before the raids are open, or if on night 1 they are just bang out open. Now, if you're interested to know how much the fast flying mount is, let's hope you have 5,000 plus gold saved up, because it costs 5,000 gold for the artisan riding, and you must spend an additional 200 gold to buy the mount itself, the fast bird itself. Now, the fast flying mount gives you 280% movement speed, and that puppy...
This is before reputation discount, right? Because I believe there is a reputation discount for this as well. My memory on this is slightly vague, but I believe so. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Soars through the skies. The mount is well worth the investment, and if you're a gatherer, and especially with all the problems with Terracone that we're probably about to face into, this investment alone will probably end up paying for itself within a weekend of farming. If you can gather up the gold for 5,200, I know it's not the easiest thing, but we did have all fresh to prepare.
To be fair, I will say on the whole gathering thing, by the way, I've been farming a lot, both in TBC and any expansions after, plus Vanilla WoW. I'm just like, I'm a gold farmer, right? I've been doing a bunch of tests, and I will say, even though you want to have epic flying for gathering, it matters less than you think. in a weird way, because when you have enough people farming in a zone, you activate something called a hyperspawn, or just random herbs and mining veins spawning in the zone at random locations. In which case, if you have a slow mount and your competition, like if it's me and you, right? I have a slow mount, you have a fast one. We just landed at the same object. Whoever lands first picks it up, right? And then we both fly to the next place as well. If you have a fast mount and you fly away from me too fast, and the same herb we just picked up spawns again, I am now closer. Or you just flew too fast away and another herb spawned in the same area, I am now closer. So like sometimes having a slow mount gets you the advantage depending on the spawns. Once again, you really want to have a fast mount, by the way, but it's not like a night and day difference. Based on my testing in TBC itself, having a fast mount gave you about 20% more gold per hour compared to a slow mount. Based on, this is like 50 plus hours of testing, by the way, both with a slow mount and with a fast mount in the same week. I basically did 10 hours of farming on day 1, 10 on day 2, 10 on day 3, both on a druid, one with fast mount and one with slow mount, and like in the same week where the prices were the same, and 20% difference, because you would think that when you have a slow mount and a fast one, the fast one is more than twice as fast, or basically twice as fast, so you think it doubles the gold per hour. It doesn't.
Prepare for this all anniversary. So hopefully you've got yourself set up and ready to go for these new mount costs. We all got sidetracked with the mount skill, but there's something we're going to bounce back to, the trade skill of Jewelcrafting. Jewelcrafting is brand new in the pre-patch, and you can pick it up in Exodar or Silvermoon. Leveling from 1 to 300 will probably cost anywhere from 500 to 1,000 gold depending on your server. Maybe even upwards to 2,000 gold if people start manipulating the market like they have done with Mongoose and other consumables. Now, there's a good chance you can also buy pre-made leveling kits, or already have been able to buy pre-made leveling kits from players around the world. So that way you can skip the grind. Keep an eye out for huge...
This is something that I've been talking about as well, by the way. I've made a couple of TBC videos so far, plus I have a TBC Gold guide as well. Shameless plug, by the way, but in that same guide, also in 2 videos, I've mentioned selling professional kits, both right now, but also for the TBC pre-patch. Professional kit is just a really easy way to capitalize on one of the biggest ways to make gold in World of Warcraft itself, other people being lazy. If you can identify a service which allows other people to be lazy and you to do the work for them, that is how you make gold. It's the same thing in real life. People are lazy and will outsource work. You can be the one doing that work. In this case, you are doing the work of compiling all of the materials into one kit and selling the kit to somebody who wants professions in TBC.
Emeralds, blue sapphires, and Azerothian diamonds, because these are going to skyrocket in price once people start mass leveling Jewelcrafting. And don't forget, you can prospect ores now. So if you find cheap thorium ore, buy it. You might pull gems for cheaper than AH prices and be able to flip and make money off of it. So now that we've talked kind of about some of the basics, let's talk about some core mechanical changes that a lot of people forget about. Specifically, item stat conversions. Stats on gear are no longer percentages. They've been converted into rating. So for example, 1% melee hit was turned into 10 hit rating, and 1% spell hit was turned into 8 hit rating. So something like Neltharian's Tear gives 16 spell hit rating instead of 2%. Healing items also got spell power added.
For the most part, these items are nerfed, by the way, because like the rating gives you a less percentage now than it did back in the day, but some items are still really good, by the way. I think he's gonna point that out, because he knows way more than me when it comes to the raiding scene, but some items are still really good, and could even be pre-raid bis, or at least be usable for the first few levels while you're leveling. Maybe not pre-raid bis. I'm not completely sure.
On them.
But there are
for example,
some
Eye of the Dead from Sapphiron now gives plus 70 healing and plus 24 spell power, plus its normal bonus, and its on-use changes from just 450 healing for the next 5 spells to 450 and 150
Oh.
spell power for the next 5 spells. You'll see a lot of pieces.
Yeah, so in this case, it's actually been buffed. This one just, they basically buffed the numbers to give you both healing and damage. Right, because that is something they did as well. Instead of just healing power, it's healing done and spell power as well. But for the ones where they go from giving you 2% critical strike or 2% spell hit rating or something, it goes, when you go from percentage to a rating, it's usually a nerf. But items like this that give you healing damage bonus now gives you healing and spell power, which means they could be used by regular casters, or a healer that wants to use it for DPS gain.
Pieces of healing gear have a small amount of spell power coefficient added onto them, basically allowing for hybrid stats on gear even early as classic gear. And
Yeah.
if you're a warrior that's actually been super unlucky with Goas or just the Loot Council hates you, there's a new item in Prepatch technically that drops off of Saffron called the Fists of the Unrelenting. Now in Prepatch, they make you immune to disarm, but obviously since things change, these gloves change in TBC to 50% disarm reduction. They're extremely incredible for leveling, especially if you're going to be tanking, so you should keep an eye out for them if your guild still is clearing necks and you've been unlucky with gloves. Something else to talk about is the difference of how Crusader is. Until we get Mongoose, it is your best melee enchant, basically, for most all classes. It gets weaker the higher you level. It loses about 4% effectiveness per level above level 60, so at level 70, it only gives 60 strength and a much smaller heal. Even though the tooltip will still say 100, it's extremely decent early on, and again, it's going to be your best enchant most likely, but you'll eventually replace it with recipe Mongoose from the second boss in Karazhan. Now, there's something else that if you weren't lucky throughout all of Classic, you want to keep your eye out for in Prepatch maybe, and this is the Fetish of the Sand Reaver. Now, it's a 70% threat reduction in Classic when used, but it scales down as you get higher and higher. Again, just like Crusader. But at level 70, this threat reduction is still 50%. It's still great on Warlocks and Warriors who like to push DPS on trash without dying. And it's something you should really pay attention to if you wanted to get that min-max and that little bit of extra power out of your character and give yourself some security so that way you're not rebuffing crazily. You're not repopping scrolls like crazy. Another thing that goes in the pre-patch is weapon skill, but it gets replaced with expertise. Although it is not as strong as weapon skill, expertise is a necessary stat, which reduces the chance attacks are dodged or parried. So 1 point of expertise is roughly equal to about 2 to 3 attack power on most scales. It's good, but it doesn't fix glancing blows, so it's not as powerful, again, as the old weapon skill. This means items like H-Core level gloves aren't worth using really anymore, and Edge Masters, because Edge Masters turn into a pair of hit and expertise gloves.
Yeah.
So I would stick to your strong P6 Nax gear and potentially Prebis items, although items like the Hungering Cold are still going to be fantastic because of their speed and their actual power and the fact that it is a KT weapon. Real quick, something else I forgot to mention, in TBC Prepatch and in TBC, repeatables no longer give XP. The first turn-ins, as long as it is a yellow question mark, will and may give initial XP, but anything after that, and as soon as the question mark becomes blue, that will only be the quest rewards themselves, i.e. the rep, or the items that you gain from them. So don't forget, if you were going to level with ZG coins like I do so here, now is the time before Prepatch goes live to take advantage of this. Otherwise, all of those coins will...
But also leveling through handing in tokens and coins and also like repeatables is such a crazy, expensive way to level, dude. It is actually like so expensive. I don't think anyone actually levels that way, but hey, if anybody does, let me know. Yeah, just let me know, because I don't think anybody does, dude. I really just don't. There is no way. It is way too expensive.
Will be for nothing besides the honor tokens themselves.
For me as well, the only way I would level that way is if number 1, I'm trying to break a world record, or number 2, I'm trying to break my own record, or number 3, a speed leveling stream. Where once again, I would tell people that I'm doing the method right.
And you won't hit 60 off of them. Now, I know that was a lot of info, but hopefully this clears up like a bunch of stuff that's going to be changing with TBC and the TBC pre-patch. Remember, don't stress about min-maxing right now specifically. Just get familiar with your new class. Get familiar with your new class changes. Stockpile your honor, prep your professions, and have some fun before we all dive into Outland. If this helped you out, drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more TBC content and share it with your guild again. Try to get everyone else on the same page together, and hopefully you all go into TBC swinging like legends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in Outlands. Take care.
Okay. That was a good video, by the way. Very good, informative video, and decent pace as well. It was a long one, for sure. I mean, the video itself was 22.5 minutes, but it was very informative, covering basically what you want to know about in the pre-patch, both for the consumes, the item changes, what's coming, the flying, the honor changes. Yeah, like a little bit of everything in the TBC pre-patch, and I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm slightly more prepared right now for the pre-patch. Also, my cat is going crazy in the background, like, dude, have we not played enough today? The second I sit down to either stream or watch videos, he just goes crazy. He doesn't want me to do this, man. He really doesn't, ever. No matter how much attention I give him on a daily basis, like, we've played for 2 hours. We've been for a 1-hour walk. It's crazy. But either way, that was a good video, and you will once again find the link down below.